Well, hello and welcome to episode 6 of Stillwood on Location. I'm out here in the middle of the forest, up near where our high ropes course is, and also near where our approach campsite is. Now, approach is a new program that we were looking and hoping to start this summer. It's a wilderness camp. It's gonna be lots of fun. We're really excited for it, whether or not we end up doing it this summer or not. Now behind me, you will see a very large, very old tree. I don't know if you guys can get a feel for the scale, but it's broken off at about 30 feet high. The diameter of it is definitely about 5 or 6 feet at least. It's quite a large tree, but those are not the only distinguishing factors. The fact that it's old and large, it also, if you guys can see, has burn marks on it. And so at some point or another, a fire must have come through here. In the immediate vicinity, there are about 2 other trees of this scale that are quite large that have evidence of burn marks on it. So there was some sort of fire that went through here and did some damage, obviously did some damage. But aside from these 3 trees that I see here, the forest looks completely fine. It doesn't look like it's been damaged at all. It's thriving, it's lush, everything seems to be growing quite well. I hear the sounds of birds off in the distance and see evidence of other animals and wildlife living here. So you really would have no idea that anything like this came through if it wasn't for these few trees here. Forests have a remarkable ability to bounce back after something as devastating as a forest fire. Not only the fact that things just grow back, but some trees have actually adapted to need forest fires. There are some cones that when they are produced, they're almost sealed shut with a resin. And the only way that the cones can open up and the seeds can get released is if a fire comes through that's hot enough and that melts the resin so that it can open up. And these pine cones, they sit on the trees for years waiting for a fire to come through. Not only that, there are other trees, the seeds are released, they go into the ground, but they lie dormant, again, for years, waiting for a fire to come through. And something about the fire, whether it's the heat or the chemical reactions or the introduced nutrients into the ground, they don't germinate until a fire comes through. So not only have trees adapted, forests have adapted to recovering from a fire, but some of them actually require it and need a fire in order to reproduce and continue to grow. Now, humans are a little bit different. We don't usually look at something as devastating as a forest fire, being a little bit metaphorical here, as an opportunity to grow or as something that's required for us to continue to move forward. Usually we try and avoid painful situations at all costs. We want to make sure that we don't feel hurt. We want to avoid it for our kids, for our parents, for our friends. We do whatever it takes to make sure that those sorts of things don't happen. And like these trees and the ones that need fires to exist, Scripture kind of tells a little bit of a different story as well. In Scripture we read in James that we are to consider it pure joy whenever we face trials of many kinds, because the testing of our faith develops perseverance, and that perseverance leads us to be mature and complete, not lacking in anything. And we read in Romans that we should glory in our trials and sufferings, because it's through those things that again we find perseverance, and perseverance develops character, and character brings us hope, and hope will never put us to shame. So while we work so hard to try and avoid painful situations, Scripture tells us that we should rejoice in them and that we should glory in them because of what they do for us. Now, that doesn't detract the negative aspects of pain and the pain itself that happens and occurs and what existed to cause that pain. I don't want to detract from that at all. And I'm not having a conversation about whether or not God creates painful situations for us so that we can grow. I'm simply talking about the fact that as we are currently experiencing, potentially, probably each and every one of us, a situation that is not comfortable, that's difficult. Some of us are facing very difficult financial situations. Some of our family situations are a lot more tense and difficult to deal with because we're all packed in at home. We've got kids home, not at school, and sometimes things just get more difficult, and I totally get that. And so while we're sitting in these situations, How can we be looking at these as an opportunity, not to just make it through, but as an opportunity for growth? What's being challenged? What's being pushed? What's being developed as we go through these scenarios that, once we're done, are going to help us be a better person at the other end of it? I really hope you guys can continue thinking about that and staying positive about some of these experiences and experiencing what's going on. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. I look forward to seeing you guys once again one day.